I did try to call you back.
Yeah, I saw. I was in the meeting, and I'd already talked to
I was
Jessica.
in the bed, how North Dakota.
I'd already talked to Jessica, so I was
Okay.
Okay,
You gonna cry?
Pete,
I am sad.
I'll take that.
What's up,
On
Lon?
top,
What's that?
that conversation.
I know, right?
I'll take it off top from you.
You gonna delete that?
All right. It's September 3rd, 9 o'clock. We have a quorum present, so I call this special call meeting of the Upson County Board of Commissioners to order. All right. And we'll move right into the business at hand, new business, discussion and potential consideration to hire a county manager. Everybody should have a copy of the contract in their packet. I hope everyone got a chance to read over that. I didn't see any substantive changes from what we talked about previously. And so what we need to consider here today is the board prepared to move forward, and I can meet with our candidate and complete a contract. So, any discussion about the contract?
I'm happy with the contract.
No comment.
No issues. I did speak to James. He's not able to be here today. He told me he was good with it, and he's looking forward to working with our new county manager. With that, I'll make a motion that I be allowed to enter into contract with our candidate, Mr. Lonnie Joyce, to become our new county manager.
I'll second it.
Okay, I made a motion. I have a second by Commissioner Jones.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Chairman Brew?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Biggs?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Okay.
Welcome aboard, Lon.
And after we do a contract signing, we'll do a formal bring you forward. Hope you have your family here.
Yeah, they could be here yourself.
Okay. All right. All right. Next item is discussion on the Records Advisory Board bylaws. We have a presenter.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, Jameson, Grammy, Archives. I stand up here.
Just as long as you enter that mic right there, it's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Can you pull it up? You want the bylaws or tell me what you want?
The resolution. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the bylaws are fine. Okay.
I think you can speak. I mean, I've read it. I've read everything you sent. So.
Okay, so essentially, a few months back, the Board of Commissioners passed a policy prohibiting county employees from serving on advisory committees. And shortly afterward, our non-rotating county representative on the Archives Records Advisory Board, Mr. Robert Haney, sent in his resignation to be in accordance with this policy. So shortly after that, my board chair and I met with County Manager Jason Tinsley to basically discuss that the policy conflicted with our bylaws and our operational resolution, which essentially cited a county employee to be on our board. And I think the resolution specifically cites county, city clerk, or representative, and that was the slot that Mr. Haney had filled. So when we spoke to Mr. Tinsley, he recommended that we get with the board and basically see if our Records Advisory Board could be exempted from this policy, or if we needed to go back and adjust our bylaws. And if I could add, I'm actually also mentioned in the resolution as a board member, although I'm a non-voting member. And we also have one other county employee that's on my board as well. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, I would see you in much the same way that we see Doug with the planning commission. You know, it's kind of an oversight. You have to, you're a part of this entity, so I don't see that as being in a conflict.
Okay.
We did pass a resolution to not have employees sitting on boards because it could cause conflicts of interest. My personal take is I think you gave us two options, like y'all provide us a nomination, kind of like what other authorities do. We'd like to nominate this person and we can approve that person to be our representative. Or we could do it the other way where we advertise on the website and hope somebody sees it and volunteer. So any discussion here as to which way you'd like to roll?
I mean, I think, we put that in place for a reason,
Yeah.
so we probably need to stick to it across the board.
Yeah. I think your first recommendation was that the Historical Society nominate someone. Is that how I read that?
Well, the different founding entities nominate their respective representatives. So the Historical Society nominates to be the UHS representative. And we had 2 from each founding entity, 2 from the county, 2 from the city, 2 from the Historical Society, and we had 2 from the school board, but that it just became a little cumbersome to have people leave school because our meetings are held in the middle of the day. So now we only have 1 school representative.
Okay. So, but the nominating process that you're proposing, who would provide the nomination to us?
So the board would recommend people, and the county would essentially vote on it.
So, Chairman, we essentially do this appointment just like we do any other appointment. We advertise for it to be filled. But because their bylaws have stated that it was an actual employee, one of the positions was automatically filled. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have to worry about that appointment. So now we would have to worry about 2 appointments.
Okay, I understand.
And I'm just gonna add this in for food for thought. She does have another person who, when appointed by the Historical Society, was not a county employee. That person is now a county employee. So essentially, she's gonna have 2 vacancies,
Yes,
So,
technically 3.
or 3 vacancies. I'm not sure who the other one is, but while y'all are having a conversation on how you want to appoint, if you could also give her some type of grace, or the board some type of grace on losing one of the
Right.
members, because they wouldn't be able to have a quorum or anything at that point if you can't reappoint.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
And how much grace do we need? 90 days, 120 days?
Our next meeting is in October.
They have an October meeting and you have a January meeting?
June, yes.
So if we went 120 days, that would allow you to have 2 meetings with,
And that could work.
Have some kind of appointment by the first of the year or something.
Sure.
So we can start advertising, and if you get somebody, then we can do it.
Chairman, can I ask her a question?
Yeah.
So are y'all going to change your bylaws?
We would,
Okay.
yeah. We would need to go back and adjust, I think, the bylaws and the resolution.
Okay, so would that 120 days give you enough time to do that and submit names?
I think so.
Okay.
That work? Okay, so I'll just go ahead and make a motion. So I'm gonna make a motion that we exempt the archives from our resolution for 120 days, basically from the 1st of September, taken through January. As far as employees not being able to be members of boards, and that we will nominate, or we will fill those 2 positions.
Are both positions county positions? I know one of them is a historical society.
Right, no, the, one of them, essentially, Mr. Joyce is coming off my board. He was our city representative, so that was the third person.
Keep them off.
So Grady was our UHS representative, so they will come up with another one, so I just need one.
We only
from the
need,
county.
the county only needs one.
Okay, so we're going to advertise to fill the 1, and we'll have a motion to exempt the archives from the current policy for 120 days. Can I get a second?
Second.
Yeah, I got a second by Commissioner Jones again.
Okay. Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Chairman Brew?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Biggs?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next up is a presentation about Oak Bridge on employee health insurance.
Morning, everybody.
Bring my glasses.
Good morning. Good. Thank y'all for letting us be here. Jessica, you get it.
I do, give me 1 second.
There we go. So I think everybody should have a printed copy as well.
We do.
We'll talk about when we, my name's Mike Stone with Oak Ridge, John Davis as well. When we went through the renewal back in July, or prior to July, for the July 1 renewal, you may recall we ended up taking a 14% increase for Blue Cross Blue Shield over, rather than going with renewing with Cigna, which was higher than that, 24%. We did share some of the cost increase with employees, and as we looked at that, we realized, hey, that's about $340,000 annually to the county under that current structure. So our marching orders were then to, let's come back and start developing a plan to help contain and stabilize some of these costs. We all know that the cost of health insurance, generally speaking, doesn't really go down. It continues to go up, and up, not just here in Upson County, but across the country. And if we can figure out a way to help stabilize, reduce and stabilize the cost, it would be obviously beneficial for everybody. So our intent is to take kind of a 2-pronged approach. There's 2 things that we think that can help in our effort to contain some of these costs. One is, as we look at the county's cost sharing with the employees. The county has for years been very generous with the contribution percent and dollar amount that they pay towards spouse and dependents who are enrolled in the plan. And employees as well, particularly spouse and dependents, when you compare with what other municipalities do, other employers around here. For instance, the base plan where the majority of the employees are enrolled, the county pays 92% for employees and 82% for employees and spouses, or excuse me, employees who have spouse or dependents enrolled as well. So the goal is to get that closer to a 90% for employee only and 70% if you have spouse and or dependents enrolled. The intent, our recommendation is to dial that down over time. If you look on the second page, you can see a snapshot of the current base plan. Again, I'm just looking at the base plan because that's got the majority of the enrollment. The impact, if we immediately turn that dial from 82% down to 72% or 70%, your annual impact to a member who's got 2 or more dependents enrolled would be over $4,000, $4,159.86 to be exact. That's just based on the current year's premiums, okay? And that's why we, to balance the cost impact with employee disruption, the employee experience, employee satisfaction, we look at imposing kind of a 3% per year dial down on that to ultimately get us to that 70%, where, in my opinion, our opinion, we'd still be very competitive as an employer. It's still pretty generous with what we're doing for spouses and dependents, while also not having such an immediate impact on your employees, of which there's over 70 to 75 employees who have spouse and dependents covered. So it would be a pretty big percentage of your folks who would be hit pretty hard if we immediately tried to push that button. Does that make some sense?
Yes.
We also talked about potentially going ahead and put that into effect immediately, or at least sometime in the near future for new hires. It's perfectly okay to have that structure where current employees are grandfathered in basically, and any new hires will be brought in at this new percentage. We can look at doing that. There's a few other things that we can do to help tweak some of these things that I think will impact cost. I'd also like to see us have more, a little more difference between the high plan, the medium plan, and the low plan. I think that'll help kind of spread some cost as well. So the first approach would be the 3% dial down on the spouse and dependents, and bring in the 92 to 90% for employees, and have that same percentage for each different tier, regardless of which tier you select, so it's a little more uniform across the board there as well. So that's our first of the two-pronged approach. And also on the third page, I just wanted everybody to see the impact it would have. We have to make some assumptions because we don't know what it's going to look like yet come July of 2026. But if we use the current year's premiums, and let's just assume a 6% annual increase. And a lot of folks might say, well, how are we going to get 6% if we had 14% last year? I'll come to that in just a second, okay? But if we just assumed a 6% increase, and we looked at dialing this down 3% a year over the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you could see the impact in 26, 27 to the county would be $84,000. 27, 28 would be 103 plus 105, almost 106 in 28, 29, and 108 come 29 and 30. Again, you have to make a lot of assumptions. We don't know what attrition is going to look like, turnover. We don't know exactly what renewals are going to be. Some folks may decide to go into a lower cost plan, all sorts of things. But if we just base, this is just kind of an idea of what it would be based on the current numbers. That makes sense?
So when I'm looking at the 103, 105, 108,000 year over year, that is the employer cost of the 6% minus 3%. Still going up year over year.
That's right.
Just not as much. So
Going up based on the assumption of the 6%.
The 6% increase to
Right.
the total. So, I didn't want to just base it on, today's dollars, because we know that typically it increases. So
Yeah.
I wanted to add in some increase there too. But that does help offset some of that increase. Okay, again, that's under the current structure, making some assumptions there. So that's we'll call it prong number one. Objective number one, start dialing down the spouse dependent percentage, bring everything to 90%, 70%, ultimately over in 4 years.
And new employees would be.
And new employees, we could do that if we decide to do it, we could go ahead and start doing that, some predetermined date. But we can decide what date would be making the most sense there. The second idea, and this is just really a conceptual picture right now, we would very much like for the county to consider moving into a partially self-insured environment. 10, 15 years ago, unless you had over 500 employees, you probably wouldn't even talk about it. But because the cost of health insurance has increased as it has since 2010 and before, more employers down to 25 and 25 employees are looking at different solutions, including moving into partially self-insured environments. Now, that can mean a lot of different things. A lot of folks through the years that is scared, but ultimately, that's how we can start to control. We mentioned that 6% increase. Right now, in a fully insured environment, we're totally dependent on the big four insurance carriers, Blue Cross, United, Healthcare, Cigna, and Aetna. We're kind of at their mercy. In a partially self-insured environment, there's things that we can do to help mitigate the risk associated with that. Meanwhile, there's also levers we can pull inside of that to help the claims. Ultimately, what's driving costs are the cost of claims. Every time you go to the doctor, or an employee goes to the doctor, every time an employee picks up a prescription, gets an MRI, whatever the case may be, anytime they're receiving a service, that claim is going to impact your cost. And ultimately, the goal here is to build something so that we can reduce those variable claim costs. We still want folks to get the same services, what they need, when they need it, but if we can do it and pay less for it, ultimately it's a win. Typically, we look at the pharmacy spend is kind of some low-hanging fruit. I won't get into the weeds there, but there are some levers that we can pull that would help reduce that cost 30 to 40% just on your pharmacy spend, which would be a couple $100,000. If we can implement something along these lines, then we can hopefully start to in year 1 or 2 bend that cost curve some and then keep it stable. We want to avoid these 20% years. We want to avoid going from 8% one year, 14 the next, 24. Stability is ultimately the goal at below what the carrier's trends are. So that's something we're going to look at. I don't think we have to make any firm decisions today on that, but we'll work with the team here as we get closer to early next year, kind of looking at some specific models, and we'll definitely be able to come back earlier than last year with some more firm recommendations. We're going to look at a number of different solutions, but one will be moving into this type of environment. So.
Yeah, and just for the other board members, just talk about that timing, because I know we talked about,
Yep.
we're going to look at it next year, but it may not be a good year, so.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like trying to buy home insurance when your house is on fire. You want to enter into this sort of arrangement when things are looking pretty good from a claim standpoint. So, you know, there'll be a lot of things we have to address. From a timing standpoint, though, our goal is by mid-spring, March, hopefully, come back with some pretty firm solutions we can present to you. Typically, in the health insurance world, the carriers aren't going to give us a renewal until about 60 days ahead of time. That's just kind of the reality. Blue Cross is, you know, they work with us a little more closely than some of the others, so we hope that we can, by April, have something, March and April, have something in front of y'all that we're not having to race to the finish line, and we can kind of digest it, get a good understanding of it. And then conceptually, you know, even before that, we'll make sure that everybody, if we are looking at making a major move into a new type of funding environment, that everybody has plenty of time to understand that and comprehend it and understand what we're proposing.
Okay. So, but in the near term, we need to address movement to the ratios. Right.
Exactly. Again, you know, our recommendation would be to turn that dial over time. And I think in concept that the 3% dial down each year would be a good balance between the financial impact and the employee experience and disruption. Now, we also have to consider, you know, as each year goes by, again, all these claims are going to dictate what 2026, 27 looks like. So, you know, I think a lot of this will continue to be fluid, but I think for now, I think looking at and considering that dial down approach is going to be the best route to take.
And what is the renewal, like we have the open season right? And then they roll into the new policy. What's the time frame on that normally?
So typically what we like to do, July 1st is the renewal date, the actual effective date.
Okay.
The new plan would go into effect. So we'd like to have open enrollment complete early June, so that everything be in place, so that, you know, with that, I'd like March, April to us all have a really good idea of what we're doing. It may not be firm yet, but we'll have a really good idea.
But what I'm asking is if we're gonna adjust the ratios year over year, that would be a ratio we're taking effect 1 July of
That's
next
correct.
year.
That's
So
correct.
everyone would know
That's right.
ahead of time, and we'd put that in some kind of policy, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, we just got to have somebody run the numbers, you know, and make sure it's because that's another bigger budget item.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah, so,
make sure we can afford to do it that way. So, but that's, you know, you know, you say that's, you know, next year sometime, but you snap your fingers twice and it's already next year sometime. So, for the old people, now the young people, you know, it's way on down the road, you know.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, there was one slide we didn't present that you have in your packet where you did a 12-month financial summary. I think it might be good to talk about that.
Yeah, that's the, again, this is just conceptual.
This is the
This is the moving into
self-insured, partially
self-insured
Okay.
type program. This is a pretty good visual way to look at this. Inside of these type of environments, really the way we're structured now, it's similar, but we don't see it this way. You just get one big invoice each month, you write the check, and Blue Cross or Cigna, whoever writes the client, the check to the provider for the claims. In this type of environment, we know that there's an administrative cost. It's a fixed number, okay, it's a fixed cost. You know that you've got insurance premiums, stop loss insurance that we call it, that will protect the county in an aggregate, from an aggregate standpoint, and it will provide protection if any one employee or member hits a certain threshold. So you've got that protection. Again, it's a fixed cost. The variable cost here are the claims. They can be anywhere from $0, which we know will never happen, up to a maximum number. In this case, we'd be looking at about $3 million in total claims cost. The intent is to hopefully find somewhere between that great and typical where, you know, we can start to decrease the cost of those claims. Again, there are levers that we can pull where we can start to hopefully drive those numbers down over time and again stabilize them, believe it or not. Ultimately, the goal then is, you know, what can we reduce the cost 50%? No, that's just not reality. But if we can start bringing these costs down 8 to 10%, we can start to gain some ground, and then all of a sudden, you know, and enhance benefits, or at least maintain benefits. It's easy to just say we're going to pass on higher deductibles. Sure, that decreases costs. But here you can really actually gain control and look at this over a multi-year period of time. It gives us a lot better data. It allows us to project and track the budget a lot more easily and accurately. So again, this is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to take a hard look at it. I'm not going to guarantee this is what we're going to be venturing into, but it's something we're going to take a hard look at. So.
All right. Appreciate it. So I think I understand, you know, this may get looked at in March, April going forward. It might not be a good year. It might be the next March, April, but this is an option. The primary mover initially is going to be the ratio paid by employee and employer for single and family plans. So I think, Sheree, I think what we need is you know, that timeline laid out, and let's get that before the board, like this is how we're going to propose to do it, and we vote, and employees know 6 to 9 months out, that there will be some impact. We don't want to.
So we have been sharing with employees, trying to not have sticker shock come July 1st of next year. Hey, there's going to be changes to the cost, how much the employees are going to pay, how much the county's going to pay. So they know that changes are coming, just not the full extent.
Yeah, I mean, we won't know the actual full extent until March, April, when they actually have what it's going to cost, but their share will be a little bit more, and I just want to be transparent about it and get it out there as soon as possible.
Mr. Chairman, one more question. On application of the, a completely different structure in terms of employee-employer for new hires, when can we implement that? Is it the new policy year?
From our standpoint, I mean, you can do it whenever you want to do it.
Okay.
It's entirely up to you. Again, I would try to keep it clean in January 1st or wait and do July 1st.
Yeah,
Okay.
Would be probably the cleanest.
January 1.
if we have the policy set, I think we can go January 1, because it's not a sticker shock to someone who walks in the door, February 2nd. So it's actually
So
pretty.
that we would need a policy for.
Hmm?
We would need a policy in place for.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board?
So we're gonna be ready by January 1st? You promise?
We'll do it next week. I mean, yeah, we can make it.
Yeah.
She has done everything we've asked her. She's on it.
But I mean, as far as that gives supervisors time to, if they need to recruit, that can be a piece of, starting January 1st, starting February 1st,
Want
whatever.
to be on board by December 31st.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be good recruiting so that
That's gonna
they
be
can get
a-
them on board before the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so what day do we, January 1st?
Yeah.
I think January
So we
1st.
target that date, yeah.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, next item up is update on road safety grants. Road safety grants.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to let Mr. Chris Braswell of EMC and Mr. James Melton, Road Department Superintendent.
Okay.
There's actually two grants, one that we've already received, a road restriping grant of, this is the one she's bringing up, in the amount of $305,000. This was applied for. This is coming out of LMIG. So we already have those funds, and we are getting to the point where we're ready to begin restriping. And I think Mr. Braswell can take it from there.
You gonna be no backup? Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Chris Browser with EMC Engineering Services. It's always a pleasure to be here. Just want to give you all a quick update. And the only really change that we want to bring to your awareness is Davis Lake Road. That was one that we received the grant to do the restriping on. However, that was not in our previous project, the 2024 project. So I made the recommendation to staff that might be one that we want to hold off and bring Davis Lake forward to the 2025 project, so we can get the benefit of utilizing those striping dollars on a fresh surface of asphalt, since we had already kind of talked about that originally. So everything else is on target. These roads were included in the 2024 package that Upson Paving has got on the street right now. We're just trying to get to the point where we made some concessions with, when we originally applied for the grant, the max was going to be utilizing county resources to clip the roads and kind of get the prep in before we do the striping. Talking with Mr. Melton, and with the current situation with the staff and things that we got going on in the county, that might not be the most feasible option to be able to get the striping down in time to have it set up and meet the requirements from a temperature standpoint. So we reached back out to Upson Paving to get a price on to do the clip and to help us out on that. I'm still waiting to get that price in, but we have the opportunity that we can utilize their forces for a value and get this project wrapped up before the end of the year with just a nominal cost to the county, and that can be applied for our match as well. So that's where we stand on the 2023 project.
That's 52 miles, well, take away the Davis Lake Road. 50 miles. 50 miles of clipping. That's a lot of clipping.
That's right, and when we looked at his resources and the staff, we didn't feel like that we could stay ahead of them quick enough for them to have any production.
Can you explain clipping to the
Okay, so
audience?
I'll apologize. So that would be removing the debris and the grass that's grown onto the edge of pavement. We want a nice clean edge. We want to find the true edge of the asphalt that lays out there now, so we can get all of the trash, debris, the overgrowth off. So when we restore the striping, we maximize the full length of the road. As y'all know, you get out there and you walk around, it looks like you got an 18-foot road, and you start kicking up the dirt and the sand and the grass, and we find the true edge of pavement. So the contractor will run a motor grader with the blade out and just blade the edge of the road, roll that over to the shoulder, smooth it out so there's no hill or any drainage issues, and then the striping crew will come back behind them and install the striping, the center line and the edge stripe on the ones that gets it. There's some that will only get a center line only. And then also want to add Waymanville Road. We're getting brand new signs and breakaway safety posts on that road.
And Hollis.
And Hollis, yeah, Waymanville Hollis is kind of, we talk about that continuous as y'all know, it crosses the intersection and then it picks up on Hollis. But
Is there any patching involved? Like when you basically edge the road, you might find that there's a chunk missing out of the.
no, sir, this is just strictly a safety, a striping grant that we received. So, obviously, we'll do our best and adjust, but there's going to be some areas that they may be a broken edge that gets paint and that rolls off, but the intent is to maintain the width of the road. And Mr. Melton and I have coordinated, and we've basically got our list together on the true widths of the road and provided that to the contractor.
I hit a broken edge the other day in Pike County. Cost me $261 to replace that rim.
And that's one thing that on all of our projects here in Upson County, we do backfill the shoulders when we do any type of resurfacing, because we do not want that edge and that drop off. It's a safety issue. And then as you know, there's a traveling public issue. Even an inch and a half drop off that can get an overcorrection and bust a rim, bust a tire. And we want to try to make sure we prevent that.
Oh yeah, that was another $300 for the tire.
A little salty, are we?
$602.
Just to clarify, the clipping is not removing, it's just
Rolling it
it's
over.
rolling it over.
Just
So
like,
citizens
just
think-
like DOT.
That's right. But we're going to smooth it out and make sure we don't have a hill.
If you go fast enough, it'll
Yep.
go in the ditch.
We're hoping we're not moving enough material that's going to create a windrow out there. So, but we'll be out there policing that. That's still part of our current project. So we'll have inspectors when they're working and ensure that we do inform the traveling public. Mr. Melton and I always coordinate when we get that local head schedule, so y'all can post it on social media or get it at least in your districts to let them know that the striping crew's coming, because that is another issue. We're painting roads, and paint and cars and wind and all that stuff don't mix sometimes. So we'll have a proper rolling traffic control operation going, but just having awareness with the public, because there may be some minor inconvenience. And y'all have all seen that horror story where the car turned left and they just painted the center line and you see it tracked up the entire road. So we want to do our best to mitigate that.
Okay.
All right, so let me ask you a couple questions, because there's a couple roads on here that are gonna be paved. We're not gonna, you ain't gonna shoot any paint until.
No, sir, and that's why, most part, Davis Lake, and then the ones in the yellow are already in our current project. So we wanted to make sure that we brought it to your awareness that we're not gonna go paint a road that's gonna get resurfaced.
Right.
But we can still utilize that money and
Right.
apply that to the 2025.
Oh, I can see that on social media now.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna be that guy to stripe it tomorrow, next week resurface it and stripe it again. And as Mr. Salter says, this money's in the bank, we've already got it encumbered, and it's part of the project that's out there. So we're just kind of give you an update on where we are, and then with the kind of the pivot going with contractor providing the prep work versus the county resources.
All right, so, all right, I got one question. Pleasant Grove Road, from Logtown to the county line, that's 8.95 miles. It says it was restriped with the 2024 LMIG package, $80,000 worth. So did that money go to that? And
So-
not you're gonna restripe it again?
No, sir. So the ones in the yellow are the ones that we striped, that's already been striped with the resurface, so we held off of striping them and included that. So, and what I just, the column H, that's actually the true cost. When Mr. Melton and I were putting together this budget for the grant, you know, we used estimates. When we hard bid it, it came in under, so we budgeted 80,000. In actuality, we spent a little less than 63,000 to get the striping on that road.
Okay.
So that's, I apologize. I've got a prettier spreadsheet with a little more legends, but it's a little busy, so that's why I'm here to interpret what
Okay.
the colors are.
Good.
Okay.
All right, good. We can move into the next grant that we're presently working on. It's the 2027. These are federal monies. GDOT actually, obviously is still, you know, working the process for us, but Chris Brazel and his team have done a lot of work so far to identify the roads for this particular grant, and so I'll let him speak to those and
So-
working with James as well.
Absolutely, and James and Ms. Pam has been a godsend for our staff to get this going. So this is the road list for the 2027 Safety Action Project road list, and that is 2027. I hate to say that, but that is 2 years off. However, this is a project that's going to be administered 100% by Georgia Department of Transportation. We provided them the list of quantities, and then they will, basically what they're going to do is pack together a district-wide grant to get more bang for the buck. So once we know more about the let schedule, we'll bring that to y'all to get an idea of when that's going to happen. But there's, as y'all can see, I believe there's, just can you scroll down a little bit? So there's 25 roads totaling about 60, almost 70 miles. As I said, there's a combination of edge lines, center line, some's getting center line only. Several of these roads are getting new signs, similar to the grant that we just talked about. However, it's just a different batch of roads and will be administered strictly by DOT.
They bid it out.
They will bid it out, they'll handle the construction admin, the money won't pass through us, that we have to circle back around. We don't have to do any prep work, we just have to do the match that's associated with this one. And I believe, Mr. Salters, this is $500,000 range that the grant was.
I don't know that I know.
Yeah,
The total.
the max end was 500. And one thing that the original list that we had was kind of caught up in the 2025 list that we prepared for our LMIG and our T-Splosh list. So we went back to DOT and said, hey, we're going to be paving these anyway. We can't wait to 2027 to get y'all to stripe them. We're going to stripe them. Can we get that money back and add more roads? They said, absolutely. Mr. James and Ms. Pam got us a new list, so we were able to add parties. So we didn't lose anything by being proactive and having the resources to get some of these roads off of the list that was originally identified.
So on the paving list that we made, we had pool 4 that's on the paving list. And it totaled close to 8
Almost 8 miles.
So I had to come up with I came up with 2 new roads, equals close to 9 miles. That's not gonna be resurfaced. So that's why they had to rush it and get them off the list. Because we don't stripe them and pave them.
That's right.
All right.
So kind of, the moral of the story, in a very short period of time, we're going to get over 130 miles worth of roads paved or striped in Upson County, which is a big deal. That's all grant related. That's not going to come out of LMIG or come out of any type of T-Splosh. Or I guess T-Splosh could be used for the max, but it's not going to cost you the full dime that it's cost. So
Now, this Georgia DOT project here, we're doing the line, center line. Did you say something about signage?
there's some roads that have signage, yes, sir.
Okay.
And them signs, we will have to remove the ones after they drive the new ones.
Okay.
In other words, we have to go and pull the old post up and take the old sign down.
Okay.
And And they're pretty much what they'll do is come in, drive the new one in front of it and lean the old one, so. Then we're responsible for removing it.
That's right.
We're probably gonna be responsible for clipping, and we don't know
Yeah.
yet. If so, we may have to contract that out.
Yeah,
That's-
we shouldn't have to do clipping on this one since they're gonna let the package, but that is something that we've asked for clarification on.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that would be a complete bid package, that DOT is gonna handle everything.
Hopefully. In the past, we've had to do clipping on
Yeah.
LT projects.
Any other questions on safety?
Yeah, what signs are they changing? It's upgrading.
It will be all of them on that particular road.
That's
What
right.
was out there now?
Just
Most some will be.
they'll be better looking, more reflective.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Meet the new criteria, more reflective material.
Yeah, they just update, they're not updating, they just replace them because of age.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But we choose the roads, which they'll have breakaway posts. DOT specs is breakaways. We don't use breakaways. We use C-channel.
They're gonna put bigger no-through truck signs?
No,
So whatever METCD says, but we did identify some areas where there were missing signs due to, maybe cars getting too close to the shoulder, so those will be included as well. And Mr. James and I worked together to identify those areas that, when we did the original assessment, the signs weren't up, some's been replaced, but some haven't, so we're gonna get the roads back up to safety standards.
Yeah, that's a lot of signs on Waymanville Road.
Yes, sir.
59.
And as you said, Mr. Paul, it's all of this from the curve ahead speed limit to the chevrons on the bridges. Anytime it's got a reflective sign, you're getting a new one.
All right. Appreciate it.
Good.
Do you also have the next,
I'm the man of the hour for a
okay,
couple of
the
them.
next item is discussion of Podity Road Bridge.
So y'all aware, we identified the issue with the spalling on the cap and some other things that came up with the DOT inspection. Happy to say that project's on the street. We've got a bid schedule out, just waiting for contractors to come back. We've got a pre-bid coming up. Me and him was going down the road talking, and I don't remember. Coming up very soon in the next couple of weeks, and we're hoping to have bids back by the end of the month, and hopefully can take action at either next work session to introduce it and then bring it to the council or the commission to approve. And also that was funded, that's going to be funded by supplemental LMIG. So Mr. Tinsley, that was something that we did on the last round, so we were able to get more of the a la carte menu that some of y'all might remember when we introduced it 3 or 4 months ago. We were able to get more of that full package, still with limited cost to the county with the supplemental LMIG, which is a win again for the citizens of Upson County.
All right. Any questions?
Nope.
I appreciate it.
Thurston Will,
Yep.
don't let me off the hook, I got one more.
I had roads and bridges on my mind. Okay.
We do it all. We'll pay your fence if you give me a check. True consultant. We're down to the short roads. Really, all we've got to do is connect the pipe. The emergency generator's been turned on. The air conditioner's running in the well house. They've got power ran to the field station that we're going to have for the water trucks and fire trucks out there. That equipment's been ordered and getting ready to install. Source approvals in process for the water itself, the drinking water through EPD. That's just a process that they've got to give us a permit so we can actually turn the switch on. All the chemical tanks are in place, and working with the contractor McElroy to schedule a preliminary startup. We'll go out there with all of our engineers and take a checklist and kind of do a dry run, get it all going, and then once we do that, we'll have to send another set of samples off to EPD to get the final check on the box, and then we'll be done. If y'all been out there lately, it fits the site well. Mr. Berryhill has been great to work with and his team, and really leaned forward and helped out, and we're excited to get that big need online for us, and we'll have ample source of water on that side of the county for a long time to come. And it's coming in on time, under budget. That's what we always like to hear too, right? And I know something about beer and wine, but I don't know anything about ordinances on that, so I'm gonna step back. If y'all have any questions, please let me know.
All right, thank you.
Did you want to swap the last two?
Yeah, I mean, we could. His is the next one on the,
I'm sorry.
do you want to come back up?
Oh, so all right.
Baseball field.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
I'll let you take the lead, and I'll just piggyback off of you.
yeah, so I asked us to bring this up today, just to give maybe some staff direction. My thought is trying to get with our engineer, provide a proposal of what it would take to do a master plan, but also for him to coordinate with the rec staff, just to make sure what they're gonna look at is all it's everything, not just one part or one piece. But ultimately, that was my reason to bring it up today, is to hopefully give them some direction, to provide some pricing back to us. And then we can make a decision of if we move forward with it.
Okay, and then, when we say master plan, we're talking about a multi-year look. I know you talked about across the road, that kind of thing.
All the land that we own around there, look at all the fields, soccer, baseball, softball, look at it all, and just kind of see what would be the best, goal that we could shoot for in the future.
Mr. Chairman, like Commissioner Watson said, I think working hand in hand with staff, we're seeing, from what I understand, transition to different age groups and different needs for different type of fields, and the programs that the rejuvenated recreation program has had. So I think it's a really good time. When we looked at the irrigation project, we realized that, at the end of the day, was that the right place to spend the money on fields that may not be in the right place for the right thing? So with Commissioner Watson's oversight, you guys tabled that, and now we've brought back, let's take a step back and look at that 10, 15-year plan and really see what the community wants and needs in that particular area, and give us an opportunity to grow and grow smart versus, I wouldn't say a reactive plan, but just, let's do this little project in a vacuum, or do this project in a vacuum, and there's no flow and no theme, and we've really got an opportunity at this precipice with the support of the community now in recreations for us to lean forward and get something out there that makes sense and can really chart the growth of the recreation in Upson County for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to look forward instead of being reactive. And there is land over that way around the pool and everything else that is expandable. Soccer fields, or whatever the next big thing is,
And I think we've learned, we're talking to some of our other consultants that y'all worked with in the past, it wouldn't take a whole lot to get us over that hump where we can start hosting tournaments and become a revenue generator, and really enhance the whole complex.
This would be good too, we can utilize that if we can get some estimation of cost on revising our 5-year capital plan. And, and working with the city too, since it's a joint project, or as assistance with funding, if possible, on the capital improvement, whatever we decide to do, and have it.
Yeah, I mean, I think after once we decide, yes, we're gonna do the master plan, they would come back, and then that's where we could start having some conceptual pricing to go along with that. To say, okay.
Whatever phase y'all want, we'll
phases,
cost them out,
yeah.
and kind of look at it and base it on the needs analysis.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. Survey, we'll take, the staff, the commissioners, if y'all want to do a community panel, and we'll just give them surveys and let them prioritize what they think the number one priorities are, and then we can lay that out on the board, and that's where your plan gets built by. We can get it all laid out, and then you can prioritize off of what the need is.
Okay. Any action that we need to do, or just,
I mean, I don't think there's anything that we need to vote on until he brings something back.
We'll just, under our standard task order contract, we'll bring back a fee schedule and with a scope of work, and then we'll let y'all move or whatever you want to do.
okay.
I don't guess, Jessica, we need to make any kind of, to let him do what he's gonna do.
I don't think so, until he starts wanting us to write a check.
Well, if y'all can vote today, we can have that conversation. But we've got a master agreement that we're task ordered under, so, in my opinion, this falls under task order. I don't envision it meeting any of the thresholds that we have set place, so.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Look to the future.
Next item is discussion of beer and wine ordinance.
Right, and,
I read what you presented here.
Yeah, and this is probably more of a appropriate for a work session, but Jessica and I were talking, and this was something that she and Jason and I have been talking about for several months, just trying to come up with some different options. But, you know, really and truly, the issue is we need a little more direction from y'all as to what exactly, as I understand, one of the main thing is you want to limit the number of establishments. So, you know, we can do that, you know, several different ways, but we need to kind of have an idea of how y'all want to do that. And as you can see from my rough draft, it's just a proposal, and it's based off, I want to say it was bid counties. The way it was one that I just came across, and I kind of liked the way they had it laid out. It limits the number per county, and then it also limits the number per district. So, you know, that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is per district. You know, you can just set a certain number, or you can do it on a percentage. So we kind of really need an idea from y'all. And again, I'm not expecting any kind of, I'm just trying to kind of stimulate some dialogue here, and also,
So I read this, and you threw a number out there, I think it was 958, so 1,000, per 1,000 residents, there's one license, so basically we'd have 28 28 businesses that have beer and wine licenses within the Upson County, and under that measure.
Under those numbers.
And I don't know what we have today.
It's probably more than that, but
Right.
that's
No, we ain't gotten even close to that.
Yeah.
So another thing that we talked about was doing so many per district. I don't really know how that would lay out. We would probably need to do a little more studying on how you would manage it, because of course some districts are larger than others, but.
Some are more sparse.
Right.
Have more population.
But the population is larger than others, so, that was just an option that we kind of kicked around, but we really needed, like he said, to know which way the board wants to go. And the other part of it was the measurement.
Yes.
That was one of the big things.
Yeah, that was,
yeah, and through all this research we've done, there's some clearing up we can do in our ordinance with that, but basically, the way the Department of Revenue, theirs has changed too over the years, how they measure it. Really what we need to do is come up with the simplest way to do it. And what I would propose, and again, this is just throwing it out there, is forget about a specific number as far as distance, but the way to measure it, to me, the simplest would be to have from property line to property line, closest property line to closest property line. Okay, so when you do that, you're really making that number really small. So you don't want to say our old number, because then you know what I'm saying. So that would be, in my opinion, I'm no engineer, Chris is left, he might have a better idea, but the other thing we had contemplated was essentially put the burden on the property owner that's trying to get the license to document whatever we come up with. Whatever, let's say it's property line to property line, 200 feet, then they have to provide a survey, you know, that's a licensed surveyor within the state of Georgia, you know, provides that distance for us. That way, and the reason for that is a couple of things. Number one, it's, you know, it's a burden on our personnel to go out there, and it's always, well, where are we measuring from, and so forth and so on. But, so we would also, we would knock down the burden on our employee, but we would also have something documented in our files. So whenever somebody comes up and contests it, we can say, well, we had a licensed surveyor who put their license on the line saying that this is, you know, the distance. it
So,
meets the distance.
so right now, we have the entrance door of the establishment that's selling beer and wine, most feasible route to the property line of the church or school.
Right.
Right, which could be
Yeah.
going out a driveway, and it
It's fraught with-
creates, you know,
Well, it's fraught with
Ambiguity.
issues because
Yeah.
what's the front door? You know,
Yeah, you
that
can
was-
change
well,
the.
Yeah, you could just move your front door.
That's
you
what's-
know,
that's
and then
what's
move
happening.
it back later. I mean,
Right.
it's just, there are a lot of variables in there. And then also the distance, you know, it's on the ground, basically, is what it reads.
Yeah.
Well, what does that exactly mean? And even Department of Revenue, when we had our last issue come up, there's some gray area there with the way they interpret it, because they basically say if there's an impediment, it moves the line. Well, what's an impediment?
yeah.
You know, that's
Not enough.
basically a jury judge question. And they also said, well, if they recently put the impediment there that prevents you, you know, some kind of half wall or whatever, well, they don't use that because they did that in anticipation of beating the, you know, circumventing the.
Yeah, because what I read was a straight line distance to the property line. Again, how far are we into our 180 days?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. But it's,
Okay, well, we need to figure out where the 180-day mark is, right? And we need to have something on
yeah.
the schedule to vote on. We don't need to go
Open it back up.
210 days, you know, we don't need to do that. We set a timeline that in 180 days, we're gonna have a moratorium. So we need to know what that day is, we need to back it off, and we need to come to a meeting with a recommendation that we're gonna vote on.
I would say we put it on a work set, the next available work session, so we.
Yeah,
can-
we need to have some real in-depth conversation
Right.
about it and all kind of have a consensus and then bring it to a public meeting. But I do not want to extend the moratorium. I do like the idea of this limitation of licenses within the county. I do think there needs to be some minimum amount assigned per district, because you wouldn't want a large number of them, you know, right outside the city limits of Thomaston, because that's where there's a mass population. You know, I don't see any issue with a store being on this side of the street that sells beer and wine, and a store being on that side of the street selling beer and wine. But I don't want to have a whole street of places selling beer and wine. You know, there's a certain thing called competition you can have, but, you know, there's certain roads we don't want to look like. And I think it's tied to convenience stores, right?
Sure.
The definition of convenience stores, and once you open a convenience store, once you get this beer and wine license, and there's other things that happen that kind of change the dynamics of the community.
Well, you know, it's like that guy that was at the meeting the other night, you know. If he didn't get his beer and wine license, then he couldn't survive.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not really a convenience store, it's a beer and wine and play a lottery for a while.
Yeah.
So,
So we did the moratorium back in May.
June, July, August.
Already there.
30, 60, 90, 120. We're right there.
Yeah. So,
Might need to extend it.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I mean, there's only so many ways you can do this, so we just need to decide.
yeah, we got 60 days basically to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I proposed is working pretty good, as I understand it. Now, I don't know, I mean, Mr. Joyce may can add if they have anything in the city. I did not look at the cities, if they have something and how that's working.
Yeah, they do have, and they did change that, right? There was some discussion, it had to do with slices of the First Baptist Church, but I don't recall now exactly what they did, but I do remember them changing it from like a front door, and it had something to do with the property line and that sort of thing.
I'll look at theirs just to see if they have a number, because if it was a great system, it would be kind of good to
Be consistent.
kind of be consistent, yeah.
Well, let's just plan for the next work session to have some options so we can weigh pros and cons. And we have to make a decision. We owe it to the public to make a decision. People's livelihoods are hanging on this, so.
So is it a couple of things y'all want to kind of throw out now so that we could have it in place at the next work session? Or-
The only requirement I have is whatever the distance is, if it says straight line distance, what the Georgia Department of Revenue, what the official code of Georgia annotated says, we are
Right.
clearly, without any ambiguity, in line with state guidelines. That's all I care.
And I think it is now. The problem is the way we were measuring is a little bit,
Convoluted.
well.
I just heard a lawyer say, I think it is.
No, I mean, it mirrors state law.
Yeah.
The issue is, like I said before, impediment.
Yeah.
It's the definition.
What is an impediment?
There's no
I'll give you
definition.
that.
Yeah, well, we might have our own definition.
Our engineer wants to say something.
So, Mr. Chairman, one thing with our experience in other municipalities, I think we're requiring a beer and wine survey to be done by a professional land surveyor.
Well,
We're discussing
Well,
going.
that's-
That's what I recommend, and then there's another caveat that we've seen more and more municipalities go to, instead of the applicant provide that to the county, they pay a fee for the county to do that for them, so they have the understanding of definitions that the county attorney's talking about. You have the expert on staff to provide the survey that understands what an impediment is, that's agreed upon by the team, versus 18 different surveyors that says, well, that's not an impediment, I can step over it, where other one says if there's a pebble on the road, that's an impediment and I can go around it. So that's just food for thought if y'all want to consider. I know Muskogee, Columbus Consolidated Government does that, but they, as part of the application fee, you're paying extra to get the beer and wine survey done by the team in-house versus them finding Johnny Surveyor down the street or EMC or whoever else to do that. So that can be something for y'all to think about.
I don't know what capability we have within,
well, I think,
It would be contracted through.
yeah, I was gonna ask, can I ask another question? That is, can you send me an email of cost on that?
Absolutely, yeah, and we're on the several approved lists, and that's, and why I said that we just went through the renewal process in Muskogee County, that we have a fee schedule that we can provide that, and don't just.
That would really make more sense, because when you're
Yeah.
letting the business owner do it, I mean,
We don't want
I'm not
that.
saying a survey would be misleading in any stretch, but.
It's open to interpretation.
Right.
yeah, okay.
I think one of the other things that's, I mean, this is my personal preference,
Take it over to Susan.
is line of sight versus, because I know some people that teach other people how to do their stuff to make it work. And this would bypass all that. From me to her
Straight line.
is a straight line. Not me going over there and talking to the engineer, then stopping and talking to Dave, and then to get to you. It's line of sight.
That's really the way the state law leaves that portion of it to interpretation. I mean, I had a conversation with the lady from DOR, and she was like, well, it depends, Well, I don't like, y'all don't want it depends, you want 10 feet, 10 feet.
That's right.
And the only way to do that is to have
Sir.
someone like Chris provide the documentation.
Yeah. That going around fences and opening a gate and closing a gate and all this other stuff, or even, and here's the other thing, would it be the front door? Or
I would say it would be
to the
closest property
business?
line.
Property
and
line,
closest
property
line.
Right,
Take all of that out.
Right.
Yeah.
yep.
All right, next work session. Options on the
Well,
table.
this is some of the other stuff we need to talk about. to get ready for this. And I think we probably ought to, look at what we're charging these people to apply. I mean, it's
Yeah.
only $100.
That's something Alan and I had a conversation about. There's an application fee and then there's a actual license fee, but I think our fees are very low.
Cheap.
Low.
No, cheap. So I think we need to, that needs to be looked at too. $100. I mean, for somebody to make millions, you know? I'm serious as a heart attack, guys. I mean, that's just so easy. Throw a $100 bill out there and, man, I got a guaranteed lifetime, you know? So I think we need to look at some of that stuff.
Chairman, if I can ask Mr. Bradley, so since you do want language next time, I would just ask if you can give me your engineered verbiage as how, you know, measuring, you know, because I don't want to type it up and you go, that's not making any sense, you know. So.
We'll be glad to work with the county attorney.
All right.
That's what I want to do.
Okay. Any further discussion on beer and wine licenses? All right. If not, I think we need to go into executive session real quick. Talk about some real estate.
Yeah,
We
we
added
needed to amend the agenda.
He
to do
just
that.
asked, he just brought that up. So, can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, Commissioner Jones and Mr. Watson. All in favor? All right, let's move into executive session.
You got my email?
All right, let me ask you a question.
I mean, that phone number somewhere.
You want my
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They don't leave me no kind of, it's breaking neck. Chairs everywhere.
No, I know.
Just breaking neck.